Hey, thank you for tuning in to this interview of INO with Joshua Peavy. Joshua, glad to be with you today.
Good to be with you, Dustin.
Tell everyone something about you.
My name is Josh Peavy. I just turned 30, so I'm officially old man as of December 2015.
Dang.
And I had a little moment of fame when I was on ABC's singing show Rising Star during the summer of 2014.
Okay, so he was on a TV show, but before we go into that, tell us something about music. How did you start getting into music?
Well, as you see, this is actually my office of the church that I currently pastor, but my dad was a pastor. And so I grew up in ministry, and my mom had always sang when she was growing up. Her family actually had a little singing group of their own, just going from church to church. But my dad was a pastor, and so I guess from singing all those church songs, when I remember being a very young boy and being pushed up on stage because they saw something in me, or heard something in me that they thought was special, and so it just in the church. Just probably 7, 8 years old, it started with singing little specials and solos and songs in the church. So
started in the church, and then fast forward, you were on the show. So it was on ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us something about that.
It was 2014. It was during the summer of 2014. It was called Rising Star. It was produced by Ken Warwick, who was one of the original producers for American Idol. He also did X Factor, stuff like that. But it was hosted by Josh Groban. If he ever sees this, Josh Groban, love you, man. Ludacris was an expert, Brad Paisley was an expert, and Kesha was an expert. So got to meet all four of those and got to know them really well throughout the course of the show. But it was in LA for 3.5 months. Everything was live, but did the whole reality TV thing.
Yeah,
and, made it all the way through the end. Made it to the top 5. Proud of that. But it was an experience, man, for sure.
So tell us, you grew up in the church, and even when you left to go into the show, where you were doing
ministry, yeah.
So you were doing ministry before you went on the show?
Before on the show. I've been in full-time ministry since I was 21.
Yeah.
And so ministry, aside from my dad being a pastor, it's just kind of, my whole family's in ministry. My brother's a full-time children's pastor. My dad and both his brothers are senior or lead pastors in churches. My first cousin is a youth pastor. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of just, I don't know, man, it's kind of like a calling on our family. We're just kind of raised into it. And so I fell into it full time at 21, and when I was casted for the show, when they pegged me for the show, I was a music and youth pastor at the time. So it was in that stint just outside of Dublin, Georgia, a little town of Soperton, where I was doing youth and music when the show took place, and that's what I was doing then. Yeah.
So then you went on the show, you made it to the top 5. You got to meet Brad Paisley, all these people, work with all of them. Yeah. Give us one unforgettable experience from when you were on there.
Oh man. Well, when I was on the show, one of the greatest experience that I had during the show, believe it or not, was not the Brad Paisleys or the Ludacris or Kesha or Josh Groban moments. The greatest experience to me was being able to get involved with and work with and lead worship on several occasions at the Dream Center in Los Angeles, the LA Dream Center, with Matthew Barnett, the pastor there. Wonderful man of God, wonderful guy. They feed thousands upon thousands of homeless every year. And the ministry there and helping out, impoverished families. And it was just amazing to be a part of that. And it's a mega church. It's an awesome church. Joel Bodker, the music pastor there, good friends of him. Joel, John Jackson, Tom Malkowitz, Clint Carlton. Shout out to all you guys. Miss them. And hopefully, get to see them again soon. But that was the greatest part. And then I guess when I sang a song as far as TV show, is I got through singing a song, and Ludacris, his response or critique was, "Man, I definitely can see the Holy Ghost and the church in your background right now." So
he knew about that already.
Yeah. So that kind of was catching me off guard.
On live TV, he said that.
On live TV, yeah. On live TV.
So that's pretty cool. And I think that's interesting that you said, because I remember you telling me all the times about you going to the Dream Center and going out to LA and doing all that stuff. And it's cool because I think a lot of people who have seen the show and watched it may think, you were always doing music with these guys, and all your great experiences are going to hotels, and you even got to do a few awesome things outside of the show when you were there. And yet, your coolest experiences were with the Dream Center, and I remember you telling me before, you had to go to the Dodger Stadium and do all that kind of stuff as well, and it all came through the Dream Center. So while you were on the show, you were still doing stuff with the church at the same time.
Yeah, and that was the thing is I believe in integrity, and you got to be who you are all the time. Be true to yourself and what your core values and beliefs are. And so while I was out there on the show, you could have. you could have just lived for that experience and soaked up that time or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me to have a chance and actually take part in what I consider real ministry while on the show was me able to stay true to not only myself, but what I feel like God's called me to do, and to be able to minister to people. Even through that was just that was the highlight. That was the biggest thing.
Which is cool, and he like you said, he made it all the way, and met him, just through social media.
Yeah.
And met him, and he's an awesome guy. And now, tell us what you're doing now, because the show's over, and tell us how that experience was from after the show. What happened after the show, and where you are today.
Yeah. Well, the show ended, and was in talks with Capitol about a record deal and everything.
Capitol Records, which produces.
Yeah, they were the label that the show worked with.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, all the songs that are on iTunes for me now are owned by Capitol Records, and they're getting those dimes, not me. But they're the ones who backed the show. It was Capitol Records. Great label, historic label.
Yeah.
But after the show, I immediately went on tour. Independent tour, by the way, and it was mainly doing churches or conferences. I did Winterfest up in Knoxville, Tennessee. You were there.
Got to go.
You went with me, yeah. With Planet Shakers, Mandisa, Toby Mac, Colton Dixon, Matthew West. Those were great highlights. But what I found myself doing is I actually was with Brad Paisley at Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee. December was a year ago, and met with Chris Dubois, Lee Thomas Miller, Kelly Lovelace, all these names, and it talked with Word and Laurie Anderson and CAA agency and all this. And what I found myself doing was not longing for the road, and a contract that would have had 3 years, 160 dates a year, stuff like that.
Because you had it.
Yeah. But the chance, when you're gone that long for 3.5 months away from your family, and you're out of everyday ministry, what I found myself was that my dreams had changed. The dreams of having a career in music and being on a stage were no longer what I sought. What I desired was, hey, I'm on the road all the time. I'm not getting to see my wife and kids, adequately. And if I sign on to this, I'm not going to see them. I'll be gone 10.5 months out of the year. And so I longed to be back with my family, and also was missing that legitimate personal ministry and something that's longer than just, hey, I come in this day and I sing in your church and I'm gone, but longing for the long haul of actually being able to witness a transformation take place in people's lives. And so that's led to me here now as I'm back in full-time ministry off of the road at Trinity Savannah is my office here at the church, and I'm a senior pastor, lead pastor. And we got a vision for just watching people transform from the dirtiest of the dirty to the greatest of the great. Everybody finding their purpose and destiny in this walk with Christ that we live. And so that's what we're doing now.
Yeah. So he turned down all the music, turned down all the, what people would say, the great things in life, and he turned it all down to come to Savannah, Georgia, and lead a church. But on top of that, though, he is doing something soon. Tell us what you're doing soon.
Well, I've been talking with those guys out in L.A., Joel Bodker and John Jackson. John actually helped me write one of my original songs. I wrote with John, then I wrote a couple more by myself. And what's going to happen is here in the next couple of months, I'm going to fly back out to L.A. I'm going to record an album of some originals, a little EP, maybe like 3. And we're going to put those on iTunes and put them out and pitch them. Because, like I said, I don't have any desire to do the tour. I don't have any desire to be a recording artist.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing right now, being a dad, a husband, and a pastor. But I have no problem with getting, what I feel like is in my spirit out to people that it may minister to or touch, or somebody that can use those songs for inspiration or to guide them or help them or strengthen them during a downtime. So I will be releasing some original music soon. And hopefully everybody will have that interest from the show and want to hear
Joshua Peavy. Look it up on iTunes. It'll be there soon.
Joshua Peavy. Twitter handle at Joshua Peavy. You can follow me there and interact there. Instagram, Joshua Peavy Music. Facebook, Joshua Peavy. And they're all certified, so you know it's me on that.
You got the blue chat.
And we'll keep it coming. We'll post it, and we'll keep those updates coming.
That's so cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you, Josh, for coming and sharing all that with us. And I'm so excited for everything that's going to be coming your way. And I believe in you, and everyone else that's watching does too.
And you can't be modest. Dustin and I are friends. We met through Instagram, social media. But we're proud of Dustin, man. We had him up here this weekend speaking to our people and lighting the woods on fire for God. And check out, and y'all obviously are watching this, notover.org.
Check it out.
And what God's doing through your ministry. So don't act too modest. He's doing some awesome things. It's an honor.
Well, he's one of the funniest guys I ever met too. So everyone that I think I know as friends, they're all so funny. This guy's one of them too. And so he's humble heart. Everything he does, you know, he turned down everything for this. But thank you guys for tuning in. Follow at Joshua Peavy. Music's coming your way. If you're ever in Savannah, Georgia, come visit Trinity Savannah.
TrinitySavannah.com.
See you guys soon.